Hi everybody!
Hello!
Welcome to our home.
Yes.
I know we haven't done a video in a while, but we have something serious that we want to talk about.
Yes, we do.
You're awful quiet this
morning.
morning.
I'm just waiting to see where this is going. I'm listening for my cues.
You don't know where this is going?
Well, I know where this is going. I'm just not sure where I'm supposed to come in. We're actually doing our take on the propaganda video that Watchtower and Babel Craft Society put out after the Filipino disaster, after that typhoon hit. And we've got some things that we would like to just address. They're kind of like subtle things.
Yeah.
For me, from our perspective, but my perspective particularly, since I have been involved with a pre-1840 historical reenactment thing for most of my life now, for 25, 26 years, I've actually learned how to survive in these type of situations, and I'm going to show where this video doesn't teach instinctively survival tactics, but where they actually use this video as a propaganda style commercial to show how Watchtower saves lives. And it's just not practical wisdom by any means. And then at the very end, we're going to show the absolute advertising power of this video that's on jw.org.
Yeah. So anyway, first off, I want to read this, and this is from the November 2013 study edition of the Watchtower.
And we've heard this before, but this is a powerful point for this particular video.
Yeah. At that time, the life-saving direction that we receive from Jehovah's organization may not appear practical from a human standpoint. All of us must be ready to obey any instructions we may receive, whether these appear sound from a strategic or human standpoint or not.
I think most of you know where this is going already.
It ain't gonna be pretty.
It ain't gonna be pretty, nope.
Okay, so our first clip. Well, you would just want to show this first clip?
Yeah, let's just show the clip so that I know where I'm at.
Many of these witnesses were in the direct path of the storm.
Disaster Relief Desk.
Before the storm hit, the Philippines branch office began coordinating the evacuation and relief efforts.
We are preparing for the typhoon because the news are said that we need to prepare. So I text everybody, every elder in congregation, I text that they need to evacuate to the safer place.
We knew it was going to do tremendous damage.
Okay, now what we can see from this clip is they knew the storm was coming. They were right in the path. It was the highest alert, and they were told to evacuate. And this will come into play later.
Yeah, so there's no question in anybody's mind that Watchtower knew full and well what was about to hit the Philippines. You know, talk about standing in front of a locomotive and not getting out of the way. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Refrigerator. And then we put the literature inside and our papa arranged it.
Okay, now in this clip, Mike and I have issues with this. This is a survival situation. Now we understand that a lot of city people really don't have much training in survival situations. So for those of you that don't see anything wrong with this, we're going to explain it to you.
This is Survival 101 or Survival Mike and Kim style. Call it whatever you want, people. This is survival, okay? You've got a typhoon heading your way, and everybody knows that, you know, there's going to be hell to pay. That's hell on earth.
You're going to lose power.
You're going to lose water.
Everything's going to get wet.
Everything's going to be contaminated by sewer spillage, spillover. And what is shown in this clip? Well, in the advertising world, and Kim and I are working on a subliminal image, so this just boom, there it is.
Jumps out at us.
They open up the refrigerator, and there's all the Watchtower literature saved. So in the advertising world, this screams, Watchtower literature saves lives. That's what that screams.
Friends, literature can be replaced.
You know, there's only one or two reasons why you'd want to save Watchtower literature in this situation. Number one is to start a fire, and number two is to wipe your backside with, well, you know, when nature calls.
Taking care of your business.
Yeah, that's the only reason why you'd want to save any type of paper like this. Now, here's the absolute problem with this visual implantation of Watchtower saves lives. First of all, in a survival situation of this magnitude, you'd want to get all of your refrigerated items like your milk, maybe your cheeses, perishables, into the freezer, because your frozen foods now become the block of ice. And these foods will stay in the freezer for days upon days.
Even a week.
Yeah. And then in the bottom half of your refrigerator, you would want to put maybe your dry goods, maybe your cereals, maybe grains, rice, maybe an extra pair of dry clothing, a blanket or two, if you can fit it. But see, here's the thing. This is why I know that this is a propaganda type sales pitch. Because in a real life, true situation, which this absolutely was, there's no question in anybody's mind that this was a real life situation. But what these people did is they threw out their means of sustaining their lives after the storm passes. But not only that, they have absolutely nothing to share with the community either. See, and then later on in the video, and I don't know if we're going to show the clip or not, you actually see where all of these refugees from Watchtower start feeding on what comes in from the outside, what comes in. There is no means of showing how to survive a storm of this magnitude after the fact. So you have to stop and think, wait a minute, is it more practical to save the frozen food, or is it more practical to save material that can be easily replaced? But from an advertising standpoint, Watchtower is pitching the sales thing, Watchtower saves lives. Now, after scrutinizing this a little bit closer, if you look at the refrigerator is an old refrigerator. It's rusty. When they open up the door, there's water rust stains around the seal and everything else. That tells me that that family does not have an independent freezer to put the food in to save the food. So now the food gets thrown away to save Watchtower literature? Doesn't make sense. The other thing you'd want in that refrigerator is a means to start a fire, because you're without electricity. You have no heat. So you need, one or two, if not three different types of means for starting a fire. And you don't have to worry about saving wood because, well, hell, a typhoon of that magnitude is going to throw wood everywhere.
And because everything is going to be contaminated, including fresh drinking water, you would want to get containers and fill it with water before the storm hits, and maybe put that in the refrigerator if you've got room also, because it is a sealed environment that will keep it somewhat sanitary.
Yeah, and and quite honestly, Jehovah's Witnesses, if you're really that concerned about saving Watchtower literature, that's what plastic bags are for.
Let them float.
Let them float. Come on. See, where's the logic? Where's the reasoning? There is none.
No common sense.
But yet the sales pitch for the Watchtower literature saves lives is clear and apparent.
Just 13 years old, was one of those swept away by the surge. She survived by climbing a tree.
Palagi nila akong pinapatibay.
The brothers tell me that in these last days, we cannot avoid calamities like this.
Oh boy.
Okay, the brothers tell her that there's no way you can avoid these situations. You can't avoid an earthquake because an earthquake can strike just like that.
They had warning of this storm. They issued alerts.
So
they were told to evacuate. How is that you can't avoid this calamity?
See, this actually becomes an absolute Watchtower lie. because in this situation, the first clip showed they had plenty of warning to get the hell out of the way. You know, that's like hearing the train crossing guards going ding, 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 ding. You know there's a train coming because here's the crossing guard, and yet you get out of your vehicle and stand in the middle of the tracks. That's how stupid Watchtower is in this particular situation, because they knew what was coming. They knew the magnitude. They had the warnings, and yet the brothers stayed put. Ridiculous.
Just gotta wonder.
When the typhoon struck, we are inside the Kingdom Hall. After the meeting, some of the brothers stayed in the Kingdom Hall, and other half of the group went to the sister's house, especially the children's.
Okay, why the hell wasn't the meeting canceled? You've got a major storm coming. I'm sorry, guys. I used to be a loyal witness. I would have been home packing provisions and immediate needs and getting the hell out of there.
Yeah. You know, instead of packing Watchtower literature, we'd have been packing dry toilet paper. I'm just saying, you know.
We would have left our food in there?
Yes. This is where I have a really deep-seated problem with what we just saw here. You know, we read that Watchtower article in the beginning. You know, be ready to obey, even if it's not practical from a human standpoint. Well, the practical advice was given. Get the hell out of the way of this typhoon. You ain't going to stop it. And it's massive proportions. They had all the warnings, but yet the brothers did not cancel the meeting. You know, those that have watched our videos in the past, I have made a comment a time or two that Watchtower has actually legalized human sacrificing through their no blood policy. And now that Watchtower has seemingly relaxed their policy by allowing Jehovah's Witnesses to now take fractions, their human sacrifice toll must be lowering. So Watchtower comes out with this article and says, be ready to obey, even if it's not logical from a human standpoint. Well,
this was definitely not logical to go to a meeting.
It was not logical. So in another sense, these people will specifically and purposely put in harm's way to become another ritualistic human sacrifice. And as we all know, that first congregation that was hit, 33 of our brothers and sisters lost their lives to this human sacrifice, and 10 were still missing and presumed dead. I'm sorry, and I apologize if you don't see it the way I do, but the way I see it, this is legalized human sacrifice. These people,
or at least ignorance,
well, just beyond all human logic, be ready to obey. I mean, them people willingly put themselves in harm's way because Watchtower did not cancel the meeting. I'm sorry, but that's legalized human sacrifice.
And unfortunately, we know how Watchtower operates and how they think, and how most witnesses think. We know the mindset.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, ain't it?
Yeah, and the thing is those that survived, they survived because they followed the brothers' direction and they were at the Kingdom Hall. Okay, what about, the 32, 33 that were killed and the 10 that are still missing? And see, the thing is if some had fled this area, unless they'd gone up into the mountains or hills to get away from the storm, if any of those had been killed, well, then the brothers would say, see, they did not obey the elders' direction.
See, and
they were not at the meeting.
And if you really think about that point in the video, those brothers said that after the meeting, half of them went to go stay at another sister's house. Now, if that sister's house would have been destroyed and them brothers and sisters were killed, this is exactly where Watchtower would have come back and said, you see, if you'd have followed the instructions and stayed at the Kingdom Hall, you'd be alive today. So for a Jehovah's Witness, this is truly a double-edged sword. You can't win, and you're going to lose.
Well,
as simple as that.
I was just going to throw an example in there. For those of us who leave the organization, And, whether we just fade away or disassociate ourselves or disfellowship and choose not to go back.
Or become raging apostates.
The thing is if you're happy and do well out in the world, oh, see, they went back to Satan's world and he's helping them have a better life. But if you leave and you're miserable, see, you left Jehovah's organization. That's why you're doing so poorly.
See, do you see how...
Damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Jehovah's Witnesses, you can't win with this organization because they have absolute control of your mind. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, when you've got 3 congregations that are standing in the direct path of this typhoon and you run to your kingdom halls for safety, that's not logical. The human mind cannot comprehend actions like this.
Yeah.
But yet it's there.
Now our next clip we thought was interesting and we wanted to bring up because this is where they mention that they help the brothers. There's no mention about helping everybody else. There's only mention of helping the brothers. So let's watch.
On Saturday, several brothers were able to mobilize foodstuff and support the need of the brothers.
Okay, now notice how they only help the brothers.
Yeah, it give no mention to helping the other victims of this typhoon. And that was something that was discussed in another video where we talked about our friend Deep Throat being in during the Katrina, thank you, disaster. Jehovah's Witnesses went into that community and helped only Jehovah's Witnesses first and foremost. But yet, whereas the Catholic Church, they went in there, they helped everybody.
They opened their churches, whereas we know that several kingdom halls refused to let any that were displaced witnesses stay in their kingdom hall. They told them, sorry, we can't allow that.
But you did notice in this particular video, and I don't know if we actually captured that or not, but they did say that the kingdom halls were opened up for refugees, but it was only for Jehovah's Witnesses.
Well, that was later in the video,
But one thing here that tips me into the direction that this is an absolute propaganda type film is the fact that if you look at all of the men, they're all neatly shaven.
And cleanly dressed.
And cleanly dressed. I mean, after a disaster of this magnitude, who the hell is going to give any forethought to shaving their face? No, you're going to let your beard go 4, 5, 6, 7 days. But every one of these men are all neatly. And I'm not talking about those coming in from Watchtower. I'm talking about the Filipino brothers.
Yeah, and cleanly dressed.
Yeah, it's an absolute propaganda. And we're going to get into the end and show you why this is unequivocally a piece of propaganda.
Well, I was going to say, we have a mud situation out here every time it rains.
Okay,
it doesn't take a typhoon for there to be mud everywhere. Every time I go outside and I just get drenched with mud, the dogs jump on me and get mud everywhere. I didn't see any mud on these people.
Welcome to the Southwest, right?
Yeah. It's like, I know mud. And I didn't see any.
And that's just after a little rain.
Yeah.
But I got to ask, where did the razor blades mysteriously come from?
Wow.
On Summer Island, the Haiyan congregation would have to endure winds of 275 kilometers per hour.
Almost 100% of the brothers' homes are destroyed. This is where we sleep. Our room, right there.
Many lost their entire means of living because of the extensive damage to the coconut groves and the fishing industry.
When the typhoon struck, we are inside the Kingdom Hall. After the meeting, some of the brothers stayed in the Kingdom Hall and other half of the group went to the sister's house, especially the children's. Everything, the ceiling fell down and the roof is gone. So when we saw that our lives are in danger, we protected one another, and we heard it sounds like the hundreds of horses are running on the ceiling. Another brother say, "Put your monoblock chair on your head." So we put the monoblock chair. Everybody of us are using the monoblock chair to protect our head. So that's the roofing material hitting his monoblock chair. That was so dangerous.
As the storm approached, many families evacuated their homes to more solid structures. 60 persons sought shelter at the Kingdom Hall. A 5-meter-high storm surge crashed into the building, collapsing the walls. Many were swept away. 22 people died. Typhoon Haiyan was one of the strongest storms ever to make landfall anywhere in the world. More than 6,200 lost their lives in the storm. 33 were Jehovah's Witnesses, with 10 still missing and presumed dead.
I don't know about other countries, but in this country, we would have sued their asses for criminal negligence.
Yeah.
We believe they should be sued by every witness family
who lost members
that were told, you know,
to go to the meeting. That's criminal negligence.
that's illegal.
People lost their lives because they listened to what this man, this governing body, was saying. Even though they had all the warnings in the world to get out of the way, they stayed put because these 8 men in Brooklyn were saying, hey, we have a potential for human sacrifice. Keep the brothers there.
Well, I just thought of something. In that very first clip, it showed the circuit overseer texting the elders,
everybody,
telling them to evacuate. Okay, so why wasn't all the congregations told to evacuate, and yet they still have their meeting that night?
Yeah, it's
Gotta
criminal
wonder.
negligence.
Okay. Now, one thing we want you to notice at the end of this film, you're going to see a black screen, but watch to the end and then pause it and read the writing that comes up.
Because there's something that's going to stand out that after we show the clip, we're going to elaborate just a little bit.
It jumped out at us.
But, you know, notice, friends, Watchtower Bible Tract Society pushes this idea that they are a loving, caring organization. God's blessing us.
The governing body wrote in to save the day.
Exactly, you know. And, you know, we love the brothers and sisters. In fact, we even found that 13-year-old sister's brother, and a day before the convention, we reunited this family. And does that speak love? Or does something like this speak even louder, which is completely missing from the end of the video? At the end of the video, in my opinion, there should be a trailer that reads as it's scrolling, in loving memory of those who lost their lives, or in loving memory of our brothers and sisters who lost their lives during this category something typhoon, and then start scrolling the names of those who lost their lives.
That would have been more human.
But
more
humane. They don't care anything about the human family. All they care about is themselves. There's no love given to those families that have lost their lives other than what's put in a propaganda type film.
And at the very end of this video, you know, and at the beginning of our clip, that's why we had it, there's a picture of a sweet little boy smiling. And right before that, you know, we didn't put all of this in the clip because it would have been too long, but there is like everybody waving, thank you, Jehovah, you know. And this is why to us it screams propaganda, and we feel that this was a way to tug at your heartstrings,
to give money.
Yeah, to get your emotions and sympathies involved, to give them more money. Now, like we've mentioned in one of our other videos where I actually read from the letter, that if you want to donate to the Philippines, just send it to the branch and they will do what they see fit to do. Don't write in the memo, you know, for disaster relief for Philippines. Leave that open and we will decide, you know, where the money is needed the greatest.
See, Watchtower's hurting so much for money that they're using this propaganda film to play or to tug at the heartstrings of current Jehovah's Witnesses to give up more money to give to Watchtower so that they can seemingly help. But here at the end, we're gonna.
Well, I was just gonna say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just thought of something. This reminds me of one of the UNICEF commercials where they show the children, and we'll show you why.
Watch this.
Titibayin ka.
Okay, you want to know why this reminded us of a UNICEF commercial? Did you catch that last acknowledgement? You know, instead of saying in loving memory, they gave an absolute acknowledgement
To Plan International.
to Plan International. Now notice there's one little sign in there that says they are not affiliated with any other religion, any other government, anything else.
So you know what we did?
Google Plan International.
And this is what we found. Plan's work is linked to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which spells out the human rights of all children.
So, you know, here's the thing. They acknowledge this plan. What is it? Plan International?
Plan International.
Plan International, which has a link to the United Nations, which has a direct link to UNICEF. Google it. Search it. It's all right there in black and white.
And what we're going to do is we're going to put the link to Plan International and UNICEF down below in our description. So if you want to go check that out for yourself. Now, we couldn't find any members that have, you know, like Watchtower or, you know, but we didn't search, you know, everything for that long. We just didn't have the time.
Time doesn't permit.
Yeah. But
there is a United Nations link with Plan International. And it's very interesting when you really read that last caption, they're giving credit to Plan International for all the film footage. You would think with a $30 billion corporation that Watchtower is, all the printing equipment, they have all the cameras available at their disposal. Why are they going to United Nations footage to provide this piece of propaganda as some sort of trumped up relief effort for the Filipino brothers? There's the link, people. It still exists. Because if this was purely a JW.org film to show their loving care and concern for the Filipino brothers, Watchtower would have had to give credit to nobody for film footage. They would have produced their own film footage. They have the means. Is it sinking in, Jehovah's Witnesses? I hope so, because I can see it as plain as the nose on my face. I can see this is a propaganda provided video for the United Nations. And somehow, some way, I just about
UNICEF.
guarantee you Watchtower is getting some sort of kickback for this. Because this is an advertising, not for Watchtower, but for Plan International and UNICEF.
Yeah, it's there in black and white. So we hope that this gives some of you something to think about.
Yeah.
And I know some of you may not agree with this. And
which is fine.
You know, leave us negative comments.
Well, no, really. I mean, no, honestly, if you don't agree, do what we do and put your face in front of a camera and get on YouTube.
Wrong.
Prove us wrong.
Yeah. Go search out Plan International, who
Prove us wrong.
Put in black and white at the end of this video.
They actually,
right after their JW.org
exactly.
logo, of course. So
we hope you all enjoy it, and I hope you think twice about a survival situation.
Yeah.
Don't save the Watchtower literature unless you plan on using it for starting fires or wiping your backside.
You all have a great weekend.
Bye.
Love you all.